Manitoba's newest provincial park designate is getting a special celebration this week at the St. Norbert Arts Centre. A Lemay Forest Celebration honors the land in South Winnipeg that has been the subject of some contention in 2025. That celebration features one of Manitoba's finest musical exports, violinist Martin Beaver, former first violinist with the Tokyo String Quartet, member of the Montrose Trio, and currently on faculty at the Colburn School in Los Angeles. Martin is going to be performing with the Lemay Forest Celebration, and he's with us here in the Classic 107 studios this morning. Nice to see you.
Very nice to be back, thanks.
We're also joined by Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra horn player Ken MacDonald with Manitoba Mobile Music, one of the organizers of A Lemay Forest Celebration. Nice to see you again, Ken.
Yeah, great to be here this morning.
And we're also joined by Elder Diane Bousquet, not an elder, ceremonial firekeeper. Yes, very important to get those things right. Ceremonial firekeeper and defender of Lemay Forest. Thank you so much for joining us here, Diane. So before, maybe to start, Diane, for those who may not know, how would you describe the Lemay Forest and its role and its special place here on this land?
So the Lemay Forest is a site of, it's a piece of land that is deeply culturally significant and historically significant to Manitoba as a whole. It is the site of the old, and I might say this wrong, so please forgive me if I do not pronounce it correctly, but the Asil Rishaw, an orphanage where there's documented records of over 3,383 children who could potentially be buried on those grounds. It was the heart of some controversy over the last, I would say, year, more so than anything. My time out there was of ceremonial purpose and connection to that land. My family has gone to the Behavioral Health Foundation, so my mom and dad are actually went there. I spent many years running through those forests and playing as a child, so it's deeply significant to me as an individual, but as a community, it holds the legacy of residential school.
And we'll get into more of that controversy in just a second here, but maybe to turn it over to you, Martin, because you grew up with the Lemay Forest in your backyard. What was it like growing up so close to the Lemay Forest and to be attached in some small way to that history that Diane was just talking about?
Sure. Well, I left Winnipeg for Ontario when I was 11 years old. So when I was growing up, of course, I and my classmates would likewise run through the forest. And I've since learned over a couple of barbecues with my classmates, indeed one last night, that in their teenage years, of course, it became an even more sort of popular place to recreate, as it were, so it was always terrifically important. I mean, I seem to have a childhood memory of St. Norbert having huge backyards in any case, and then we had this wonderful forest.
Yeah, absolutely. A forest that we were alluding to before came through some controversy this year. Diane, maybe for folks who are not familiar, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what happened there. So
about 5 years back, the land was sold to privately, and a developer recently tried to develop the land. In, I think it was 2024, we came across the findings, and so when we were notified of what happened back in December, we decided to come out and light a ceremonial fire. And spend some time on that land and really connect and offer healing to the community as a whole, and really try to work together in truth and reconciliation, to fight for the protection of this land. Over the time we were there, we were filmed while we were in ceremony. That was submitted as evidence to court, and they successfully got an injunction banning us from the Lemay Forest, which holds 3 sweat lodges, and many of the ceremonial participants had long ties to. So it severed our ties to ceremony and that land.
Wow. Yeah, and there's been so much that has been fought for those rights, but ultimately those rights were recognized with Premier Wabkanu setting aside those lands with the intention of turning it into a provincial park some weeks ago. And now, but there's still some costs associated with that land defense and with honoring it, to be sure. Correct. And that includes this concert that is coming up. That's coming up this week, actually tomorrow, if my dates are correct. But maybe that's where we can bring you in, Ken, because as one of the organizers for this concert with a new organization, relatively, called Manitoba Mobile Music, maybe you can talk about what that organization is and how you became involved in helping it to preserve the land's legacy.
Well, violinist Trevor Kirchanoff really decided that he wanted to have a chamber music entity in town that was really trying to connect meaningful events in the community with musicians. And when we heard that Martin was keenly interested in coming and supporting the Lemay Forest protectors, we were of the same mind, and we thought this is a wonderful opportunity. We got on the phone and decided what piece of music would really work for this. Mm-hmm. And we landed very quickly on the Schubert octet because, of course, it features Martin as a soloist, and we can have a lot of support in the background. People at the concert tomorrow will hear these wonderful musicians, many of whom are our WSO colleagues. Jennifer Thiessen is playing viola, Alex Whitehead is on clarinet, Elizabeth Mee on bassoon, Alyssa Ramsey on cello, Meredith Johnson is playing bass. So anybody who's heard chamber music in this town will know these names. Trevor and Rachel Christensen are playing second violin parts, and I'm playing horn. So we're all coming together, and because the Schubert octet is in these 6 movements, we thought, wouldn't this be wonderful to intersperse this, and Schubert being associated with the forest so much.
Very much.
We'll hear between the movements from the land protectors and hear why this land is so important and why it's so wonderful that it is being now preserved. So we're calling it a Lemay Forest Celebration because it's gratitude all around. Gratitude that there's been this recognition now of the importance, not only the cultural importance, but this is a very rare riparian forest, old growth. It's an exceptional parcel of land for so many reasons, for so many people. So I think we want to have an evening that's just going to grow and grow in, just like the forest is going to grow and grow, where we're going to just be able to appreciate. And there's only about 40 tickets left.
Oh, well, boy, people better get on this in a hurry, and we'll tell people how to get those tickets in just a second. But first, to say, maybe Martin, back to you. How did you become aware of the struggle associated with the Lemay Forest in the last year, and how did you come to the decision that this is something I need to return to my hometown for, and to assist in this land defense through your talents and your gifts?
Yes, well, in fact, it was about a year ago. I was in fact in Winnipeg for the 90th birthday of my surrogate uncle, who live in St. Norbert, and I'm staying with them now. And I got together with some of my classmates from my grade school years, and I think it was shortly after that one of them had mentioned it also at the gathering, but shortly after that I was sent some information on a couple of the websites, and I read all about it, and I thought, gee, this is something that I wish I could contribute in some way. I mean, I don't live here anymore, unfortunately, but St. Norbert and this forest are very near and dear to my heart.
As you're performing as a soloist in the Schubert Octet, which we talked about a little bit just a second ago here with Ken, what do you think that you will be communicating about the forest as a soloist when you are performing in this work?
Well, I mean, I would accept perhaps co-soloist with the clarinet, because the clarinet also has a lot of kind of main material. But I think that certainly coming together as an octet, kind of one of the larger of the chamber ensembles that we have, to me symbolizes the kind of cooperation and the search for understanding that I think we all share in celebrating the Lemay Forest.
Absolutely. It's part of, you alluded to this before, Ken, but part of this ongoing effort for these sorts of Western classical music traditions to be involved in this conversation around reconciliation, not just here in Manitoba, but Canada more broadly. Diane, as you have encountered these musicians preparing this concert with their very sort of specialized gifts, what does that symbolize about reconciliation to you as a protector of the Lemay Forest, that people using their talents in a genre that is very closely associated with sort of a colonial sort of a past, a very Eurocentric past? What does it mean to see this art form come to play such an active part in this reconciliation conversation?
Well, I've had a chance to listen to the piece, and to me, music's universal. So it doesn't have borders, and the musicians' ability to use their platform to support and promote Indigenous identity and reconciliation at the same time is exactly what that stands for. The piece, to me, feels like what it was like to go through what we went through at the Lemay Forest, protecting it. You feel the difference, the slow, and then the storm, and then the calm after the storm. And that's how I portrayed the piece of music. So to me, it's deeply profound. And this whole event represents truth and reconciliation. It acknowledges both.
Yeah.
And it takes all parties involved to do that.
Absolutely. This concert also is a fundraiser for a group protecting the Lemay Forest. What is the Land Protectors Legal Fund, for those who may not be familiar?
So in the process of what had taken place out there, some of our land defenders were criminally prosecuted or civilly prosecuted. So that equated to legal fees and fines, and now we're aiming it towards also supporting any other future problems that may arise out of this. The saving the forest is been done and protected. However, the fight is not over. So, for example, I am personally actively involved in a complaint against the developer within the Manitoba Professional Institute of Planners. So that could result in another lawsuit. So we'll see how this all plays out and how this supports that.
I see. Ken, maybe back to you for a second, because this is one of the first events I understand for Manitoba Mobile Music as an organization. What sorts of other events do you think that your organization would consider performing alongside, given the nature of this concert that you all are joining in on together?
Well, we've identified a number of underserved populations where live music really they don't have access to that on a regular basis. And we would like to see more kind of organically growing events coming from the community. The model where people go to a subscription concert series for chamber music is finding challenges, but we're finding that with making partnerships in the community such as this, that there are a number of ways that we can extend and bring chamber music to our community. So one of our mottos is that this is Manitoba Mobile Music is music where you are.
Wonderfully put and wonderfully summarized for that mission. Martin, in your career, which has taken you all over the world, I cannot imagine that there have been many opportunities to perform in St. Norbert since you left this, or much less at the near the Lemay Forest in the time that you've been away from Winnipeg. What will it mean to return to your roots, pun intended, tomorrow night to celebrate this next chapter of the Lemay Forest?
I mean, obviously, it's very, very meaningful. I performed a lot in my parents' living room as a kid, of course, doing my practice. But and I believe there was one time some years ago I had appeared with the Winnipeg Symphony, and there was an event organized at the St. Norbert Arts Center. So I did actually go and play a little bit for some former neighbors and friends and friends from all over Winnipeg. But it really is it's a great feeling to be able to come back to St. Norbert, not only just to be there for me personally, but also to think that my visit is going to have a positive impact in saving the Lemay Forest.
A celebration of Lemay Forest is taking place tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the St. Norbert Arts Centre. As Ken alluded to before, there are only a handful of tickets left to be sold. You can find those, I'm looking at Ken to confirm this, manitobamobilemusic.ca to claim your spot. Ken MacDonald, Martin Beaver, and Diane Bousquet, thank you so much for joining us here in the Classic 107 studios and telling us more about this celebration.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.